Manchester City 0, Arsenal 1. Martinelli goal in the 86th minute off of Nathan Ake's eyebrows give the Gooners their first win against City, I think in 15 matches. Also, I meant to close your game out with this. You guys have not beaten Brighton in 4 games.
I know.
All comps. But
that being said, got an away tie feels so good after not beating them.
Yeah, true. Arsenal 1, City 0. Martinelli got that goal. It hit off Ake's head. This game was goofy. It didn't look like either team really cared to win. Arsenal with 0.39 XG, City with 0.48 XG. Arsenal had 12 shots, 2 on target. We had 1 on target. Yeah, man. I don't know. We're not very good right now. And this is losing to an Arsenal team that honestly isn't very good right now either. They lost to Lens in the Champions League midweek. So, I don't know.
This game was boring as hell. This was like if you're really into chess and you're watching some like 2 really like talented people at chess play and like you're like, oh my god, they're so smart. Like, I didn't even see that move, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But, like, if you're like me going and watching someone play chess, I'm just kind of like, okay, who's going to win? Like, I don't know what's happening in front of me.
Yeah.
It's not interesting. Somebody's going to obviously win at the end of this. I just don't know who. It was boring as shit. I thought you guys look lost offensively.
Yeah.
And they don't look great either. But I also think that they were, like, trying to, when you lose to somebody over and over and over again, it's almost like for us in Brighton, perfect little segue. A draw sounds great. Like a draw would be sick. They just don't want to lose to you guys again.
Yeah, I want to bring up this point. I'm wearing an Everton hat, like I said, and a Burnley sweatshirt, and it's because City have less XG this season than Sean Dyche's Everton, the famous coach of both Burnley and Everton in the past. Everton have 16.43, City have 15.66. Dude, I don't know what we got to do. We made substitutions in the 68th minute. We put on Stones, we took off Lewis. We put on Nunez, we took off Kovacic. We put on Doku, we took off Alvarez. We got worse after that. The bright spot of this team so far has been Julian Alvarez, but it's not like creating so much. It's literally bailing us out with a goal. Like, it's not like Julian Alvarez is. I think his goals to XG have to be like 1-1.
Yeah.
You know? Haaland, I think I'm really disappointed in how slow the coaching staff even, and I'll blame him too, but the coaching staff have adjusted to how teams have adjusted to him so far. He doesn't get nearly enough touches in dangerous areas. He doesn't nearly know how to do build-up play as well as I would hope after a year. And as much as the past week or past 2 episodes that we've put together, I'm like, man, we really miss Rodri. Dude, I think this was the game where we actually really missed KDB.
Yeah, dude, I know it's simplistic and it's not completely true, but there is some truth to it. Kevin De Bruyne is like 40% of why Haaland was as good as he was last year.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll give you that.
The fact that not even just like the balls that he plays into the Haaland, but the threat that De Bruyne is with the ball at his feet, the threat that De Bruyne is pinging the ball to either sideline to, you know, Mahrez when you had him, or Foden or Grealish, it made you as a defender have to say, okay, well, they have multiple threats. Right now it's almost no threats. And if you're going to say, okay, we need to lock somebody down, you lock Haaland down, and then it's just easy. Then you're done with defending Man City, unless you have a moment where Phil Foden does something crazy or Julian Alvarez does something crazy.
Yeah, it has taken a lot of individuality into the team, which I don't necessarily like a lot. the interesting thing about XG is Pep's teams don't traditionally create chances just to create chances. They're looking to create the perfect chance.
Right.
They're looking to create the chance that is 9 times out of 10 going to be the goal. So, like, the XG thing for us at times, I'm like, this doesn't really matter. But if you're looking at these statistics and you've watched every game, you can tell that this team offensively just looked totally just lost. And
so, just your XG point, what typically you want to look at is, are you outperforming your XG?
Mm-hmm.
Which you guys always do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because even when you get a chance that's a 0.65, which is a really good chance in XG terms, you're always converting that. You're always converting the 0.8s. And then here and there you're converting the 0.05s or whatever, but you're not taking so many shots that you're just never going to make. You're making a bunch of shots that you have the guys talented enough to do so that you're outperforming it. So right now your XG is low, but I think you still have scored more goals than that, right?
But it's so close. It's actually 17 to 15.5.
Yeah, but you've only played 7 games.
Yeah. I think the other thing I'll say too is since I made the proclamation about not giving up a goal, we've only had 1 clean sheet, and I think we've played 8 games since then in like all comps. But I can't sit here and put any blame on the defense. They've actually played really well. Like Diaz, Ake, Guardiola, Kyle Walker. Sorry, my brain is not working on names right now. And like we're getting Stones back now finally. Like that's just gonna get even better. Rico Lewis in the past 2 games has looked good, and like I want him to play more. He's still so young. The problem too is with De Bruyne out, that means Silva, and with Rodri out too, actually, this probably plays into it more, is like Bernardo had to drop so far back. Kovacic, I think we got to...
Do we want to talk about it?
Yeah, first, before we get into it, I think we got a Chelsea player.
Okay. I kind of agree a little bit. I just don't know what his... Like I said, I think even at the beginning of this year, I don't know what his strengths are particularly.
Dribbling.
In terms,
supposed to be.
Yeah, but like he's not ever like deployed in a way that is like what he's gonna be doing. He's kind of like he's this game specifically too. Pep even said that he wants people that are good on the ball, like keeping the possession of the ball, because he didn't want to get hurt through the middle. And I don't think he's like very good at that.
That is supposed to be one of his strengths.
He didn't look very good.
That was a red card.
So I'll say this. This year, that's 100% a red.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm still not 100%. I think that was more of a red in the grand scheme of things than like the Curtis Jones ones was. He, in any year, in any time period, anything else, he gets 2 yellows.
Yeah. I think so.
The fact that he did not get a foul for the one on, I think Declan Rice was the second one, is crazy. Yeah.
It's a tough game. It's a tough game to watch. It's tough to be a realistic fan watching this shit. Because they just look lost, man.
For sure. Man, I don't know. It's so hard to like, to not go like Dylan Tucker tinfoil hat. Michael Oliver was that ref. He was in the UAE not very long ago.
Yeah.
I
don't know.
I don't think that I think that's kind of like a funny thing to do. I wouldn't be like super serious about it unless something else came out, obviously. But it's one of those things where like we said at the beginning of this podcast specifically, they're just like handing red cards out. And like for that one to not even be a red card but then not to be a second yellow is just crazy. But I do think like you guys, and that's the thing. Like I think we have to kind of focus on you guys because most people would have you win this game just because of the history and everyone, so many people are saying City by Christmas it'll be over or whatever, and I do still think you guys are going to win. But I don't think Arsenal look good either. Like
No.
Really.
It's kind of funny we talked about college football at the top of this because I think at the beginning of this year I did sit there and I was like, City's head and shoulders better than everyone. I think the injuries have made it a little bit more even. I do still think we're going to win the league. I think that you've seen us come back multiple times. It's been against you before, so
yeah,
you
I don't care.
Before.
I don't care about you guys right now.
Yeah. But I don't think that there is necessarily, outside of us, that dominant of a second team this year. I think Tottenham's going to be good. I think you guys are a lot better than we're giving you credit for so far. I think Brighton's going to be a Jekyll and Hyde, but they're going to be whatever the good version of Jekyll and Hyde is more often than not. Who am I missing? I think Villa's decent. I think Newcastle is going to be a more consistent Brighton, to be honest. I think Man United stink. I think Chelsea stink. I think West Ham's tough. I think West Ham's as good as Chelsea and Man United stinking, but just tougher.
Yeah, I think they'll eke out results.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping that this international break is coming at the correct time so that Pep can kind of go into the lab and say, look, we're not creating enough. We're not getting in danger enough areas. We're scoring so many more goals outside of the box than we normally do. And they're all from Julian Alvarez, who, shout out to him. Just love him. I think he might be my favorite player on the team right now. But the other thing I want to say, too, is I saw a comment that Pep made about, like, Arteta's able to just go to the board and get money and spend money and whatever. And, like, that's like a millionaire shaking their can at a billionaire. And I think we're actually the billionaire in this point of view, shaking the can at the millionaire. Like, I don't co-sign that. I think that's kind of goofy.
The thing was, everyone always talks about, like, Arteta being like the wish version of Pep.
Yeah.
And then after this, he said like something about how, like, he's, one of the smartest people. Like, I've learned more talking to him than I've taught him, or something like that. And I just love, like, first of all, I do like Pep. I think Pep is, like, if he was my manager, I'd be like, fuck yeah, like, he's awesome.
Yeah.
I do also just think that there's a little bit of, like, Ramsdale clapping going on there. You know what I mean? Like,
poor guy.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Like, I know you all say that I taught him everything, but really he taught me a lot of stuff too. But, like, keep saying that I taught him everything.
Yeah. Pep's actually the opposite of, like, someone who wants to constantly talk about themselves. They kind of want to reverse engineer it and be like, no, like, you think I'm so smart. It's actually, and it's just as annoying, but just in a different way.
Because then, like, people go to, like, Arteta and they say, like, what do you think about Pep saying, that you actually taught him a bunch of stuff? And then it gets reverse engineered into, well, actually, no, Pep was my mentor. And then everyone's like, oh, so it was Pep, so he was just being real nice. Like, it's
just a snake eating its own dick type of shit.
Yeah, it's just a back and forth little tug off. I don't like it.
Basically. So City lose. They'll figure it out. I have no doubt. I'm not pulling the alarm bell either, or the escape hatch, or whatever we pull in this scenario, but it doesn't look good right now.
Wait, do we want to do the bet here though?
Home and away?
Home and away. Both of us. You
do not take 6 points off of us.
So home and away. If you beat us home and away, though, you get something. But then if it's a draw and a win, or a win each, then nothing happens. But let's just a nice little friendly home and away.
Friendly classic football bet.
Yeah, one item.
Did Coutinho make it home?
Yeah, he's in my bag.
Okay, I was worried about him. I saw him under, like, an open bag of chips in your room, and I was like, this is gonna get lost.
Phil's here. He's good.